From free energy to anti-gravity machines, discover the forbidden inventions they don't want you to know about. Imagine a world where groundbreaking inventions vanished, not because they failed, but because they were too powerful. This flying saucer-like machine, designed by a forgotten genius, was built to achieve anti-gravity flight and speeds beyond imagination using clean, limitless energy. Instead of praise, the inventor was silenced and the machine disappeared. Some say governments saw it as a threat, others blame powerful industries protecting their profits. Whatever the reason, the technology was buried and its creator forgotten, leaving us to wonder, what did they fear? This is just one invention that vanished, but it's not alone. Around the world, other groundbreaking technologies were silenced before they could change history. Let's explore them. Imagine a world without power lines or tangled cables, where lamps, phones, and cars all hum to life without wires. Over a century ago, Nikola Tesla believed this was possible, and he started building it. In 1901, Tesla constructed Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island, a massive structure designed to transmit electricity wirelessly across vast distances. Energy would float invisibly through the air, accessible to everyone for free. But before Tesla's dream could become reality, his funding was cut and the tower was dismantled. Here's where things get suspicious. Tesla's main investor, J.P. Morgan, pulled the plug when he realized wireless power meant no meters, no profits, no control. Some believe energy monopolies conspired to bury Tesla's work because it threatened their empires. Others claim Tesla's notes and blueprints were seized and locked away in classified vaults. What if Tesla's vision wasn't just forgotten but stolen? The Wardenclyffe ruins still stand today, a haunting reminder of a future we never got. A future where energy flows through the air, just as Tesla imagined. In the late 19th century, an inventor named John Ernst Worrell Keely stunned the world with a machine that defied explanation. Known as the Keely motor, this device supposedly harnessed an unknown force, what Keely described as etheric energy, to produce unlimited mechanical power. Imagine a motor that ran without fuel, without steam, and yet churned with incredible efficiency. At public demonstrations, Keely's machine lifted massive weights and operated complex machinery, leaving crowds and scientists speechless. But as Keely's fame grew, so did the skepticism. Some accused him of fraud, others feared he was tapping into forces best left untouched. Here's where it gets mysterious. Keely never revealed the full workings of his motor, and after his death in 1898, the device disappeared. Some say powerful industries, oil, coal, and manufacturing, saw his invention as a threat and moved swiftly to suppress it. Was Keely a genius whose discovery was too dangerous for the world, or just a brilliant showman? One thing is certain, the Keely motor vanished, and with it the promise of clean, limitless energy that could have reshaped history. Fast forward to the 20th century, and the story takes a familiar turn. In the 1970s, a man named Stanley Meyer developed an engine that could run on water. That's right, water. Meyer's technology split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen using electrolysis, creating a fuel-efficient system where cars could drive hundreds of miles on a single gallon of water. The implications were earth-shattering. No gasoline, no emissions, no dependence on oil. Meyer demonstrated his water fuel cell to investors and the media, and his claims sparked both excitement and skepticism. But just as his breakthrough started gaining momentum, things turned dark. Meyer died suddenly in 1998, allegedly after a meeting with investors. Officially, it was ruled a brain aneurysm, but his brother swore Meyer had been poisoned. The fuel cell disappeared, and critics called it a scam. But what if it wasn't? What if Meyer's invention worked and posed too big a threat to the trillion-dollar oil industry? Today, his water-powered car remains an unsolved mystery, a symbol of progress stopped dead in its tracks. While Meyer's water-powered car promised freedom from fossil fuels, another energy breakthrough emerged in the 1980s that could have rewritten the rules of energy production: cold fusion. Unlike the blazing temperatures of traditional nuclear fusion, cold fusion was a low-energy process that claimed to produce massive amounts of clean, limitless power. It was first announced in 1989 by electrochemists Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pons, who stunned the world with their claims that they'd unlocked a cheap, safe way to harness nuclear energy in a lab. For a moment, the world held its breath. If cold fusion worked, it would end the energy crisis, reduce pollution, and eliminate our reliance on coal, oil, and gas. But things quickly unraveled. Mainstream scientists couldn't replicate their results, and the pair were ridiculed, their careers effectively destroyed. Conspiracy theories swirled. Did energy corporations bury cold fusion research? Were governments afraid of its implications? Yet to this day, whispers of cold fusion persist. Laboratories around the world still experiment with it quietly, claiming intermittent success. Could it be that Fleischmann and Ponce were right all along, and cold fusion remains one of the world's greatest suppressed breakthroughs? The truth remains as elusive as the energy itself, but one thing is clear. When humanity comes too close to a limitless power source, there are forces that prefer we don't touch it. What if you could store the entire contents of a library on a single floppy disk? This was the claim of Jan Sloot, a Dutch inventor who in the late 1990s developed what he called the Sloot digital coding system. Sloot promised revolutionary data compression so efficient that just 8 kilobytes, yes, kilobytes, could hold a full-length movie. Imagine the implications: instant file transfers, unlimited storage, and a technological leap that would leave today's cloud systems in the dust. Sloot presented his invention to investors who were stunned by the demonstrations. It seemed impossible, and yet it worked. But before the deal was finalized, tragedy struck. On July 11, 1999, just one day before handing over his source code, Jan Sloot died suddenly of a heart attack. His coding system vanished, and with it, the potential to revolutionize the digital age. Was it simply coincidence, or did Sloot's invention threaten too many powerful interests? To this day, conspiracy theorists argue that his coding breakthrough didn't disappear. It was buried, and we're still being forced to live in the shadow of what could have been. From digital miracles to gravity-defying mysteries, we now arrive at one of the strangest cases of suppressed technology, Viktor Grebennikov and his alleged anti-gravity platform. In the 1980s, Grebennikov, a Russian entomologist, discovered something extraordinary while studying insect wings. Certain beetles, he claimed, had microscopic structures that interacted with electromagnetic forces in ways science couldn't explain. Inspired by nature, Grebennikov built a device that he said could levitate, an anti-gravity platform capable of flight. According to Grebennikov, the platform was silent, fast, and seemingly immune to inertia. He described soaring above fields and villages, experiencing strange distortions of time and space. Yet no physical evidence of the platform remains. Skeptics dismissed Grebennikov as delusional, but his detailed notes, diagrams, and insect studies raise questions. Was he tapping into a natural form of anti-gravity technology? If so, why was his work ignored or dismissed? Some believe his discoveries were quietly confiscated, hidden away by those who feared the consequences of accessible free flight. If Grebennikov was right, his platform could have rewritten not just the laws of physics but the way we move through the world. And now, we return to Nikola Tesla, a man so far ahead of his time, his inventions often bordered on the unbelievable. Among his most infamous claims was the development of a death ray, a particle beam weapon capable of obliterating targets hundreds of miles away. Tesla called it the Teleforce and described it as a defensive weapon that could end all wars. The world, however, wasn't ready to believe him. In 1934, Tesla revealed he had perfected the concept, but he struggled to find a backer. Then, after Tesla's death in 1943, the US government swooped in and seized all of his notes and research. Officially, the death ray never existed, but strange experiments continued during World War II and beyond, with reports of secret projects hinting at particle beams and directed energy weapons. Some believe Tesla's research was appropriated and classified, while others think it was lost forever. But Tesla wasn't the only one. Other inventors allegedly explored similar concepts. Did Tesla crack the code for a weapon that could reshape geopolitics forever? Or did his genius threaten a balance of power so fragile that it had to be erased? But what happens when science reaches beyond the physical realm, when inventors claim to communicate with the dead? That's exactly what Thomas Edison set out to do. Thomas Edison, the man behind the light bulb and phonograph, had one more invention up his sleeve, a device that could speak to the dead. In the 1920s, as spiritualism swept the world, Edison became intrigued by the idea of communicating with spirits. Unlike seances and Ouija boards, Edison approached the idea scientifically. He believed the human body was made of tiny life units that carried on after death, and if they existed, why couldn't we capture their presence? Thus, he began developing the spirit phone, a machine designed to detect and amplify the faint signals of spirits. While Edison was careful about publicizing his work, he spoke of the spirit phone in interviews, claiming it was close to completion. But then, nothing. After his death in 1931, the device disappeared. Was it unfinished, or had Edison created something so bizarre it had to be hidden? Skeptics dismiss the spirit phone as myth, but believers speculate it was suppressed by those who feared its implications. Imagine if Edison had succeeded, if technology allowed us to pierce the veil between life and death. Would it have been a comfort or a curse? We'll never know, because whatever Edison uncovered vanished along with him. Not all forbidden breakthroughs are about machines or energy. Sometimes they involve something as simple and as controversial as a vitamin. Two-time Nobel Prize winner Dr. Linus Pauling believed that high doses of vitamin C could treat cancer, boost immunity, and even extend life. In the 1970s, Pauling's research showed that vitamin C therapy improved outcomes for terminal cancer patients, a claim that stunned the medical world. But Pauling's findings were met with ridicule. Pharmaceutical companies and mainstream medicine pushed back hard. After all, if a cheap, widely available vitamin could combat cancer, where did that leave the multi-billion-dollar chemotherapy industry? Clinical studies appeared, seemingly debunking his work, and Pauling's reputation as a scientist suffered. Yet, many independent researchers and patients still swear by vitamin C therapy, and modern studies hint at its potential. Was Pauling onto something revolutionary? Or was his work buried to protect the profit-driven status quo? To this day, the debate rages on. It's a reminder that sometimes the simplest cures are the hardest to accept. And then there's Dr. Royal Rife, a man whose invention was so groundbreaking it might have changed medicine forever, if it hadn't been silenced. In the 1930s, Rife developed a machine that used specific frequencies to destroy cancer cells. At the heart of his work was the Rife microscope, a device that could magnify cells far beyond what was thought possible, allowing Rife to observe viruses and bacteria. He discovered that by tuning his machine to precise frequencies, he could shatter pathogens, much like an opera singer breaking glass. Rife's early trials reportedly cured patients with advanced cancer. Word spread, and in 1934, a group of doctors observed his success. But soon after, everything fell apart. Medical authorities accused him of fraud, his lab was raided, and his equipment confiscated. Rife's career crumbled, and his cancer-curing machine was dismissed as pseudoscience. Was Rife's work truly flawed, or did it pose too great a threat to the pharmaceutical giants? Today, Rife's technology has resurfaced in alternative medicine, but the question remains, was his invention a miracle, suppressed before it could save lives? Water covers 71% of our planet, yet billions of people face water scarcity every day. Why? Because most of Earth's water is trapped in oceans, salty, undrinkable, and seemingly useless. But what if there were a technology that could turn seawater into fresh, clean drinking water without massive costs or energy consumption? Rumors persist of a free energy water desalination system invented decades ago that promised to solve the global water crisis. Using minimal energy, often pulled directly from renewable sources, this system reportedly used advanced methods like electromagnetic resonance or solar hydrogen processes to purify water instantly. So why isn't it being used today? According to some researchers, the technology was quietly suppressed. The ability to generate fresh water on a large scale, for free or next to nothing, would undermine entire industries. Bottled water corporations, energy providers, and governments that profit from scarcity. Imagine if every village, town, or home could access unlimited clean water straight from the sea or even the atmosphere. No more droughts, no more profits from desperation. Some claim prototypes exist but are locked away in labs or hidden by those who fear its consequences. The truth remains elusive, but one thing is certain. If such a breakthrough exists, it could reshape life on Earth as we know it. While modern science chases answers, ancient civilizations may have cracked secrets we still don't understand. Enter the concept of pyramid power, the idea that the geometric precision of pyramids can harness and amplify energy. It sounds like science fiction, but reports dating back centuries suggest that pyramid structures exhibit bizarre properties. Sharpening razor blades, preserving food, accelerating plant growth, even mummifying organic material, all claimed effects of pyramid energy. Some researchers believe the Great Pyramids of Egypt were more than tombs. They were giant energy generators, harnessing electromagnetic fields from the Earth itself. In the 20th century, inventors began experimenting with pyramid replicas and claimed remarkable results. Soviet scientists in the 1970s studied pyramid structures and recorded odd phenomena, increased electrical charges, changes in atmospheric ionization, and even health benefits in animals exposed to the pyramids. But as interest grew, mainstream science dismissed it as pseudoscience, and funding for further studies evaporated. Could it be that the ancients stumbled upon a form of free energy hidden in geometry, a force we've yet to understand? If so, were the pyramids the ultimate lost power plants of humanity, their secrets buried under sand, stone, and time? No one understood the raw power of vibration better than Nikola Tesla. In the 1890s, he created a device no bigger than a shoebox, the mechanical oscillator. This simple-looking invention produced precise vibrations that Tesla believed could power machinery, transmit energy, and even influence the Earth itself. Tesla claimed that, during one test, he accidentally triggered small earthquakes in New York City. The oscillator shook his lab, rattled windows in nearby buildings, and sent him scrambling to smash the machine with a hammer before it caused more damage. But Tesla wasn't just playing with tremors. He believed his oscillator could unlock the planet's natural resonance and harness it for energy. Think about it. The Earth vibrates like a massive drum, and tapping into that energy could provide infinite power. However, the potential to control vibrations also raised darker possibilities. What if such a device could be weaponized to destabilize buildings, bridges, or even entire cities? Tesla's work on the oscillator disappeared and he took its full secrets to his grave. Did he abandon it because he feared its power? Or was it confiscated and hidden away by those who saw its potential for destruction? Either way, Tesla's oscillator remains one of the most tantalizing and terrifying what-ifs of modern science. What if life itself could be created in a lab? In the 1830s, an eccentric British scientist named Dr. Andrew Cross stumbled upon something truly bizarre while experimenting with electricity. Working at his estate, Cross aimed to crystallize minerals by passing electrical currents through solutions. But what happened next left him, and the world, stunned. Small, insect-like creatures emerged on the surface of his apparatus, alive and crawling. These organisms, which he named Acarus, appeared seemingly out of nothing. Cross hadn't introduced them intentionally, nor could he explain their origin. Had he discovered a way to create life through electricity? Word of Cross's findings spread quickly but not without backlash. The public accused him of playing God, and rumors of witchcraft ran rampant. Scientists of the time struggled to replicate his results, and Cross's reputation as a respected experimenter crumbled under the weight of controversy. Some believe his discovery challenged long-held beliefs about biology and life's origins, leading it to be dismissed outright. Could Cross have unknowingly tapped into a process far beyond his understanding, a glimpse into artificial life powered by electricity? Whether miracle or mistake, his work remains an eerie chapter in scientific history, hinting at possibilities we still struggle to comprehend today. In stark contrast to Cross's accident with life, another genius would invent something extraordinary on purpose. You may know Hedy Lamarr as a Hollywood star, one of the most glamorous actresses of the 20th century. But behind her beauty was an exceptional mind. During World War II, Lamarr and composer George Antheil developed a system called frequency hopping. The idea? A secure communication technology where radio signals rapidly shifted frequencies, making them nearly impossible to intercept or jam. Initially designed to guide torpedoes, this invention laid the groundwork for modern technologies like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. But here's the twist. The US Navy ignored Lamarr's invention during the war, dismissing it as impractical. Some speculate sexism played a role, with the military refusing to take the work of a glamorous actress seriously. For decades, Lamarr's contribution remained buried, her patent forgotten. By the time the technology resurfaced and changed the world, she'd received little recognition. Was her idea too revolutionary for its time, or was it ignored because of who she was? Lamarr's story reminds us that brilliance can come from the unlikeliest places, and that sometimes, those who change the world are the ones history overlooks. From inventions that transformed communication, we move to a discovery that defied the very laws of chemistry. In the mid-20th century, French scientist Louis Kervran proposed something extraordinary. Living organisms could transmute elements. Picture this: chickens laying eggs with calcium shells despite eating food with little to no calcium. Kervran believed they were converting potassium into calcium through low-energy nuclear transmutation inside their bodies. To most scientists, this sounded impossible. Nuclear reactions were supposed to require extreme temperatures, massive energy, and cutting-edge technology, not the humble biology of plants and animals. Kervran spent decades gathering evidence, documenting examples in nature where elements seemed to transform. But instead of praise, he faced harsh rejection. The scientific community dismissed his findings, branding them pseudoscience. Yet, his theories fascinated researchers in alternative energy and agriculture. What if nature had found a way to manipulate elements without high energy, something modern science has yet to replicate? If Kervran was correct, his work could revolutionize agriculture, medicine, and material science. Could it be that his findings challenged too many established norms, leading them to be swept under the rug? What if we could pull energy straight from the cosmos, limitless power flowing freely, waiting to be tapped? In the early 20th century, American inventor Henry Moray claimed to have done just that. Using a device he called the Radiant Energy Receiver, Moray demonstrated the ability to extract energy from what he described as the sea of energy surrounding the Earth. His machine, no larger than a tabletop radio, reportedly powered lights, motors and heaters without a single drop of fuel. It required no wires, no solar panels, and no external input, just the invisible energy of the universe itself. Naturally, this raised eyebrows. Investors and scientists were captivated, but skeptics demanded proof. Moray performed live demonstrations where his device produced consistent power for hours, yet the full details of its construction remained a secret. Then the trouble started. Moray's lab was broken into, prototypes were sabotaged, and his work was repeatedly dismissed as impossible. Did Moray truly discover a way to harness free, limitless energy? Or did his invention threaten powerful energy industries that rely on keeping the world plugged in? Today, Moray's device remains one of history's most tantalizing what-ifs. A glimpse of a future where energy could flow as freely as air. That's about it. Write in the comments which invention did you like the most. For more useful information, watch other videos.